Rio Grande Medical Center, cost allocation concepts from Lauren, Garth, Carrie, and Mary. Rio Grande Medical Center. The Rio Grande Medical Center is a full-service, not-for-profit acute care hospital in Rio Grande, Texas. The 100,000 square foot section of the facility is devoted to outpatient services. This section has two primary functions. 80% of the section is devoted to all the routine outpatient services offered by the hospital, and the remaining 20% is the dialysis center. The hospital works on a cost allocation system. The current system is based on the square footage of each department. For example, currently the facility's cost allocation rate is $15 per square foot. The facility's cost allocation for the dialysis center is 20,000 square feet at $15 equals 300,000. The outpatient clinic is 80,000 square feet at $15, which comes to $1.2 million. All other overhead costs are called general overhead. These costs are allocated on the basis of 10% of the revenues of each patient service department. There is $270,000 allocation of general overhead for the dialysis center and $1.6 million allocation for the outpatient clinic. The total allocation for the dialysis center is $570,000, and the total for the outpatient clinic is $2.8 million. Recent growth in the outpatient clinic volume has created a need for 25% more space than currently assigned. In order to best accommodate this growth, the dialysis center will be relocated to give the outpatient clinic the space it needs. This expansion is projected to increase the outpatient clinic revenue by $4 million. A new 20,000 square foot building will be built for the dialysis center. The new building will accommodate additional dialysis patients. However, it is unclear whether or not moving will attract more dialysis patients. The cost of construction, land, relocating equipment, and other furnishings is $4 million. The $4 million will be financed by a 7.75% 20-year first mortgage loan. All costs considered, the new facility will have an annual cost of $400,000. Before the move, this is a comparison of the dialysis center and the outpatients based on their profit and loss statements.
The problem. Currently, department heads receive annual bonuses based on each department's contribution to the hospital's overall profit. Previously, only direct costs were considered, but Rio Grande CEO has decided that bonuses will now be based on total costs. This has become a great concern to the director of the dialysis center, as with the new cost allocation accounting for the new facility, he will likely lose money. After the move, here is the profit loss statement comparison between the dialysis center and the outpatient clinic. As you can see, the net profits for the dialysis center, they have a loss of $70,000, and their percent of revenue has gone down 2.6%. To address the director of the dialysis center's concern, the CEO has asked that we look into the cost allocation. The stipulation being that any allocation changes must be made within outpatient services, meaning that any change in direct cost allocation to the dialysis center must be offset by an equal but opposite change in the allocation to the outpatient clinic. The solution. When we look at the problem, we know that the updated cost allocation for the outpatient clinic is $1.5 million with their growth and soon to be additional patients. And the cost allocation for the dialysis clinic will need to be $400,000 because of the loan. This means in total, the cost allocations for both clinics will need to be $1.9 million. This is the amount we need to cover through both clinics. The solution. If we're looking to be fair to each clinic, we should strive to allow them the same percent of revenues they've been receiving in the past. Previously, the dialysis clinic has had a percent of revenues of 1.1%, and the outpatient clinic has run at 21%. We know that the outpatient clinic will increase revenue, but an increase at the dialysis clinic is not guaranteed. By maintaining a $15 facilities cost per square foot for the dialysis clinic, we keep their profitability. This means we need to change the cost per square foot for the outpatient clinic to meet the cost. A $16 per square foot will meet the need and allow the outpatient clinic a percent of revenues of 20.5%. Question 1. Is it fair for the dialysis center to suffer in profitability from the move, even though it had nothing to do with it? Yes, it is fair because although they did not have a choice in the matter, the dialysis center is currently profitable and will have a new facility, and with a marketing campaign can really potentially be even more profitable compared to what they receive now in their smaller, older facility. Question 2. Should the dialysis center be charged actual facility costs for its new location? After all, the move was forced by the outpatient clinic, which is being charged for facilities at the lower average allocation rate. Under the concept of charging for actual facility costs, department heads might be better off resisting proposed moves to new and potentially more efficient facilities because such moves would result in increased facilities allocations. The answer? It could be to their benefit to not be charged actual costs. Because of the added cost of the move and new building, their total actual is probably higher than if they left it the way it was. For instance, old system at $15 per square foot times 20,000 feet equals 300,000 versus the new location of 400,000. Number 3, even if the true cost concept were applied to the dialysis center, is the 400,000 annual allocation amount correct? After all, the building has a useful life that is probably significantly longer than 20 years, the life of the loan used to determine the allocation amount. If the true cost concept is applied, what would be the allocation in the 21st year after the mortgage had been paid off? The answer? Yes. The $400,000 allocation amount is correct. Even after paying the loan off in 20 years, there is still opportunity cost involved. Number 4. The revenue that the dialysis center receives from patient use of the pharmacy appears to be passed on directly to the pharmacy. That is, the dialysis center books $800,000 in annual revenue, but then it is charged $800,000 for the drugs used. Should this revenue be counted when general overhead allocations are made? To make his point, John discovered that the pharmacy supplies used for dialysis actually cost the pharmacy $400,000. So the pharmacy makes a profit of $400,000 on drugs that are actually sold by the dialysis center. The answer, we agree with this. The pharmacy should do their own billing. The dialysis center should not be making a profit on pharmaceutical drugs when they are just the middleman and do not have the authority to do the billing. As you can see from our spreadsheet concerning the last paragraph of our assignment, we have the P&L statements without expansion and then the initial allocation. You can see in the last 2 columns we've completed an alternate allocation for this for the P&L statements. Thank you. Stop.